Here we go, Chevra. We're deep in the Tanya. So, what were we talking about yesterday? What was our main topic yesterday? Was talking about fire. Talking about how your neshama, your animal soul, expresses through the quality of fire. Okay? And we explained that fire is on the side of negativity. Fire is anger. Fire is haughtiness. Fire destroys. And therefore, if a person has an imbalance in anger, an imbalance in haughtiness, so there's something that's obscured with the element of fire in his animal soul. So says the Rebbe. Now we're going to move on to the next element. V'tayvos v'tanugim, 2 lines from the bottom. Miyasoid hamayim. So we have 3 more elements to go. Water. What are the negative qualities of water? When again, we said there's nothing physical, no physical water we're talking about in your animal soul. But what does it mean when my animal soul is expressing through water? What does that look like?
Drowning. You could like drown your godly soul.
So what am I drowning in? It's interesting that we use that language. The Rebbe just said it. V'tayvos v'tanugim. Literally just sensual, sexual pleasures. That's the world of water. Now the simple meaning, the Rebbe says, Ki hamayim matzmichim kol minei tanug. If you have a desert, and you've got all the most wonderful trees there, but there's no water, then do I have any delicious delicacies to eat from? Nothing. What happens the second the rains fall? Everything fruits and blossoms. All those delicious foods to eat. The sensual, delicious. Water makes everything juicy, makes everything wet, makes everything grow. And that's all tied into as well taivos, which is all sexual related things. That's why every beer commercial, when they're filled with women, and they're always like by the pool, and everything's like water. Because anytime that you're talking about taivos, especially sexual taivos, there's going to be water involved. Water is that element that makes all sensual taivas, desires, grow and flourish. And therefore, if a person is struggling with those points, let's say he's not such an angry person, he's not such a haughty person, but he just likes certain taivas, he's a food person, he eats a lot. By the way, eating and sexual things are very related. So he's highly into he loves going out for nice meals all the time. He's like a foodie, like they say nowadays. He became like food. He defines himself by food. There's usually also sexual things wrapped into that. That's all because something about the water element inside of his soul his animal soul is off. Okay? Now we mentioned each one of these elements has a positive counterpart. So what's the positive side of water?
Life.
So that it makes growth and life, which means using sensuality and using delicacies in the healthy way, which includes eating foods on Shabbos, which includes a husband and wife being together in a holy way on Shabbos. It means being together through the laws of family purity. It means using all the sensual delights that Hashem has given us, but specifically using them. Again, the godly soul was always going to be focusing on using those things with a higher purpose in mind. And therefore, water from the side of the godly soul is always going to be the delicacies and delights with a holy purpose. Okay? Any questions on water? So what's the next? How many more do we have left? 2 elements. What are the 2 that are left? Earth and wind. So let's see. Air. The hoilalus, the late sunnis. Hoilalus just means like emptiness. Late sunnis. And you know what a lates is? Like a joker. Like a scoffer, they probably call it. A guy just makes jokes about everything. Some guy says something really deeper. He makes a comment like, I'm really going through this thing. And the guy's like, you're going through this thing. And you look at the guy like, it was so insensitive. Why did you just... That's a lates. A lates makes fun of everything. Things that are serious, a lates in 1 second. That's why it says that a lates is doicha harbe min kedusha. You could have said, some guy could have said a very moving speech, a very moving idea. You get one smart aleck in the crowd that makes one little comment, the whole thing could be finished. He could uproot it. That's a lates. That's late sonas. The hisparis is interesting because hisparis means like to be haughty, to make yourself beautiful. So then what's the difference between hisparis and gaiva and haughtiness? Hisparis comes with the word tiferes, like to make yourself look exalted, be exalted in people's eyes. So isn't that gaiva, isn't that arrogance? So the answer is arrogance is when you've got something, you got something and you're arrogant about it. Meaning you shut Hashem out and you say, I'm the man, I'm the center of the world. But you do have something. You're a great speaker, you're a jock, you throw a ball across the field. What's the furthest throw? How far does Patty throw Mahomes? 80 yards? 80 yards? Okay, so he that would be called, if he's like, yo, look at me, that's called gaiva, because the guy can throw a football. His sparis is gaiva when a guy doesn't have anything. He just fabricates that he's something. That's his sparis. There's nothing there. He just makes himself look like a somebody. That's his sparis. Okay? Just so you know the difference. He pumps himself up, but there's nothing there. Vidvar betalem. What's dvar betalem? Wasting your time. When a person just decides to like,
It's like nonsense.
Dvar betalem means literally involved with just empty stuff. Bittel's man. One of the chaver told me that he saw there was a website or some blog or whatever, the 10 best shows to binge on. Do you understand? Just the very idea that there should be a site of trying to coax you into binging on some series of whatever that's just called bittel. Just bittel. Come on in. You probably watch all 10. Oh, well, these are the best ones to binge on. I'm gonna guess I'll watch all 10. I'm gonna make sure for myself they're the best ones. Or compare and contrast. The other guy's 10 list of 10. That's just called Devar B'Talem. Bittel's man, just involving yourself in nothing. You have no other reason to do that except that he coaxed you into it to just waste your time. So which element did those come from?
Air.
Air. Why? Because what's the element of air all about? Air is nothing. It's empty. Air there's nothing there. It's just, so all these qualities, a guy makes light of things, someone said something very serious, he turns the whole heaviness into like nothing. A person who is hoyless is just like lightheaded, goes around, joking around, doesn't take life, doesn't mean anything. His sparis, like we said, he makes himself pumped up, but he has nothing there. And Dvar B'Talem are exactly that. He's involving himself in essentially just nothing. He's just involved in nothing. Now, what would that be on the side of holiness? What would be air on the side of holiness? Air on the side of holiness is very sublime. Because air is the most refined of the elements. So air on the side of holiness would be like Kabbalah, would be deep spiritual sensitivities. That's air on the side of holiness. Is a person who's like, so something might say he's so floaty. That would be air on the bad side. The guy just like floats around. He's got no plan for life. That's air gone bad. But a person who wants to understand deeper concepts that are not so concrete, so you need to have air. You need to be a little bit more refined to appreciate more sublime information. And who is the most sublime? Hashem. Hashem is the most sublime being because he's beyond this world. He's not concrete at all. And therefore, a person's missing air on the side of holiness will never really come to sublime connection. He'll oftentimes be the guy that's just like, oh, these deeper topics that's like not for me, Just why not? Hashem's pretty pretty refined. Maybe we should refine ourselves to be more sensitive. So that's air. And what's the last one? The Atzlus. We're on the next page. Page Vav at the top. The Atzlus. Atzlus means lazy. Means to be like lazy. Atzlus is the most un-Jewish trait. Depression. Depression. Everyone should watch that. The videos of the 12 tips. Practical ways to not be depressed. So which element do those come from? Being lazy and depressed? From the earth element. Because the earth is just like, ugh. Right? It's like a guy that just, takes way too much away. Just like, ugh. And creatine. Just like, ugh. I don't move so much. I love those guys. I don't do cardio. You're gonna miss we're going to a wedding of our bro. No, I don't run to the bus. I just don't move too much. I don't move too fast. Cardio. What? Move! Let's go! No, because Earth is just like, Gains. So too much gains makes you just, gain gravitational pull into the ground. So the gains, an Atzlus is just like a guy just doesn't want to get out of bed. Like the Earth. Like, bro, let's go do something. No, I can't move. Just like the Earth, it's not moving anywhere. Water's moving, the fire's moving, wind is moving. Earth is just, it is. And depression is exactly that. Depression is the guy just like, I can't move. I'm just stuck. So the best thing to do for a depressed guy is get him out of bed. Let's let's move, let's do something. The one thing a guy who's depressed wants to do more than anything else, just stay in bed. And just the longer that goes on, he just stays in his head like, I'm so depressed. I just can't do anything. I'm just so depressed. No, you're stuck. That's like Earth. And Earth is just so stuck. Now, what would that be on the side of holiness? On the side of the godly soul. And the godly soul emerges through these 4 elements. So what does that look like on the side of Earth?
Being able to stay calm.
Being able to stay calm and being able to be solid in your beliefs. The whole world could tell you one thing and you say, I know what I believe. I know what I believe. The whole world is standing on one side of the river and saying, paganism is the way. And Abraham is standing on the other side and saying, God is one. Now, he could have been easily influenced. He had the element of earth very powerful. The element of earth is related to what we call to be an action, stiff-necked. And the Torah calls us stiff-necked many times. You're stiff-necked people. You're stiff-necked. It's interesting, stiff-necked is like, you ever see those guys that do too much like trap work? They're like, there's no neck, it's just like this. It's crazy. That neck is like steel. So either you're stiff-necked and you can't get out of your box, or you're stiff-necked for holy things. So it's like, bro, we're going out, like milchik restaurant, It's not kosher, but just don't worry, it's milchiks. I'm cool. Business meeting on a Friday night. You don't have to break Shabbos, you'll just come, you just sit there. A Jew knows that he has the power of Afar. I'm not budging. I'm not moving. I'm not budging. I know it's true. I'm not budging from that. You're a stiff-necked people. It's very, very important. You're going to be called to defend the faith. So no, I know what I know. Rabbi Noach always spoke about 5-finger clarity. I know what I know. I'm stiff-necked about it. So on the side of contamination, of impurity, that means that a person he's just so down, he can't get out of his rut. On the side of holiness, it means he stands for values. Unlike, the swamp creatures and the various politicians, that they stand basically for whatever the constituents, whatever, okay, just change your policy all of a sudden. You were so passionate about something very, relevant to life and values, and now you're wishy-washy and fickle. Where's your stiff neck? Why don't you stand up for something? Why don't you stand up for something? Believe in something. And by the way, when you believe in things nowadays, in a world where there's so much wishy-washiness, and you stand up for something, you'll be respected. You'll be respected. because you stand for something. You don't just go with the tides, whatever people are doing, whatever's cool at the time, whatever's the hot topic, whatever's trending. You stand for something. Wow, it's gewaldig. So big, so big. And I have to add that these 4 elements correspond to 4 special cities in the land of Israel. The city of Tzfat, the city of Tveria, the city of Yerushalayim, the city of Hebron. So which one corresponds to which? The city of Yerushalayim? Eish, HaTorah, Eish of the Mizbeach, the Eish of the Beis HaMikdash, of the Kohanim. Everyone knows when you come to Yerushalayim, it's fire. Fire. It's lit up here, boys. It's fire. It's fast. What about Tzfat? It's wind. You're up high in the mountains. That's why it's the city of Kabbalah. The problem is, if it doesn't go well, it could be the city of, other things, being too floaty, just floating away. What about water? Tveria, it's on the water. Luscious. Ginosar, Paris Ginosar. What about Hebron? Earth. When you go into Hebron, Maras Machpelah, the cave, the patriarchs, you feel like you're in Hebron, you land in Hebron. Hebron is very earth energy. And I want to add one more thing. These 4 elements correspond to the 4 letters of Hashem's name. Eish is the Yud. Ruach is the upper Hey. Mayim is the Vav. And Afar, earth, of course, is the lower Hey, all the way at the bottom. Okay, we're going to be building more on this idea through the entire Tanya. So you guys have now got a spiritual blueprint of your animal soul, that the animal soul, all it wants is to go to the Bahamas, right? Nefesh Bahamas. It wants to enjoy and expresses itself through these 4 elements. Essentially, they're destructive because they're just involved with you, short-term pleasure. The godly soul, we're going to learn, also expresses through these 4 elements, but expresses using every one for a godly purpose, to bring unification to the world, to bring positivity to the world, to be solid in values of positive human development, all the good things. To be continued. Rabbi Yisrael, have a wonderful day. Shekaya.